It's that super no, she my flow. Yeah. It's that
Breaking, 5.7 million year old hominin footprints in Jeopardy. 12:02 p.m., in the context of the field, it's the equivalent of blowing up the Sphinx in Egypt. It's a big deal, says Bournemouth University's Matthew Bennett, confirming that several of the footprints he and colleagues described in a paper published in August as belonging to an early hominin have been destroyed or stolen. But Bennett adds, at the same time, no scientific data has been lost. It's because the detailed, sophisticated analysis carried out on the 5.7 million year old footprints, preserved on a beach at Trailos in western Crete, included high-resolution digital scans of every print. The team behind the controversial paper used those scans to develop models that they compared against prints from a variety of primate and non-primate species before concluding that the individual that made the tracks was an early hominin. The team had always planned to make all of the digital scans available to everyone, including colleagues interested in challenging their conclusions. The loss of a few of the prints, says Bennett, has no effect on the availability of the information they contain. The bottom line is, a digital scan is a digital scan. The data is there, says Bennett. In terms of someone not being able to study the prints, now, that's rubbish. Co-author Per Ahlberg, a paleontologist at Sweden's Uppsala University, had previously noted that in 2011, someone had spray-painted graffiti over several of the footprints in an apparent random act of vandalism not connected to their controversial interpretation. The graffiti had no impact on the data or the team's conclusions, however. Bennett says he became aware that there was some damage to the site when his Greek colleagues began sending emails on Tuesday, about 3 days ago. He says that local authorities reacted to the vandalism swiftly. The municipality moved within 24 hours to cover the site, put down tarps and tons of gravel over the tracks that remain. While that may sound like dumping destruction upon destruction, literally, what Bennett calls a great big heap of rubble over the remaining trackways is actually a protective measure to guard against future acts of vandalism. Other fossil hominin trackways, such as 3.6 million year old footprints in Italy, Kenya, for example, are typically covered over with a variety of materials whenever they are not actively being studied. What's more, says Bennett, the individual who destroyed part of the site to nab a few of the prints didn't know what he was looking for and didn't get the best of the tracks. The tracks and the team's interpretation of them as hominin have stirred controversy in many quarters, for many reasons. Because current paleoanthropological consensus is that hominins evolved in Africa and were not present in Europe until about 2 million years ago. 3.7 million years after that Trailos impressions were made, many in the field rejected the team's conclusions. Others, both in field and in the general public, claimed the team was making some kind of Eurocentric bid for humans evolving in Europe. The European cradle of humankind was assumed a century ago, with more than a dash of racism, but was long ago cast aside as more and more fossil finds, beginning with those collected by Raymond Dart in South Africa, showed that modern humans evolved in Africa. Co-author Ahlberg, in conversation before the theft, made it clear that the team has no interest in resurrecting the idea of an ancestral European homeland. Some people have suggested that we are driven by a Eurocentrism claim. We are making no claim whatsoever, said Alberg, adding, they mustn't confuse this with the origin of modern humans. It's clear modern humans evolved in Africa. Speaking today in light of the act of vandalism, Bennett echoed his colleague's sentiment about not playing geopolitics with the hominin footprints. The clarion call for me is that it's a possibility. Let's be open-minded. It's about allowing debate. I don't think damage to the site affects that.